guys, it's Allison here of Allison Chamarel Pet Photography. I'm excited to give you the inside scoop on how to take your dog to Mexico and safely bring him or her back across the border. We just went to Mexico this past weekend with our dog, and we brought her back from Mexico into the United States through the border crossing and all that. So I want to tell you all about that, but first I should mention, if you're watching this video on Facebook, I highly recommend you pop over to my blog. I'll post a link here. I'm going to write a bunch of other information that hopefully is helpful if you're thinking about taking your dog to Mexico. So, oh my gosh, let's see. The first thing that I want to mention is that even if you have a Century Pass or a medical fast pass, not sure what the actual term is for that, but you know what I mean, a medical fast pass. We actually did have a medical fast pass when we passed through the border this past weekend. And despite that, we were waiting in line in our car for 2.5 to 3 hours. It was a long time. So that's kind of item number one. Definitely if you have a puppy, but really any kind of dog, oh my gosh, make sure they can get a potty break in because it's really hard to stop the car. There's a couple of green spaces that you, I guess, could use on your way through, but boy, your timing would have to be really perfect. So I don't recommend chancing that. Make sure your dog has total chance to get everything out of his or her system before you get in line. And what we have found the best times to cross the border, we had a lot of success actually when one time we crossed the border at 6 a.m. on a Saturday. That was by far the quickest that we've ever gotten through. But like I said, this time it was 2.5+ hours, and we went through Sunday afternoon. It was only like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. So, yeah, it was a long time to be in the car all cooped up. But what happened when we got to our the border and we got to actually the guard that was checking our passports is we handed him our passports, and he was looking through them. He asked us about where we had been and where we were going and what we were doing while we were in Mexico. So kind of basic questions. And at one point he said, "Can you please roll down your back seat windows?" And our dog was sitting in the back seat, and she was totally bored from sitting in the car for that long. So she was just chilling out, laying down on the back seat. But I still said, "Okay, we have our dog in the back seat, just so you know." Didn't want him to be surprised, or if she suddenly decided to get up and greet him loudly or boisterously like she does usually, that I didn't want him to be scared and do anything, rash. So I told him that we had a dog, and he didn't even acknowledge that, really. He was just like, waiting for us to roll down the windows. We rolled them down. Our dog just kind of looked at him and smiled from her spot in the back seat. And he said, okay. And he ran our passports through whatever system they have, and he gave them back to us, and he said, "Have a nice day." And I was so shocked at how easy that was, you guys. It was really no big deal because we had forms. We had certificate of good health. We had her shot record. We had her rabies vaccine that was specifically saying when she had gotten that last, which was only about a month ago. So she was all up to date and everything. And it turns out all that work we didn't even really have to do. I'm still glad we did it. But it was super, super easy. So I can't say that the same thing would happen to you in any situation, but especially if you have a super young dog, I feel like they probably are trained to look out for, as well as just a really rambunctious in your face kind of a dog. Because our dog just laid there in the back seat and let him look at her, and she was totally fine with it. She just stayed in one place. She was really well behaved. I need to thank her for that. But that was our experience, and then we just cruised on through. And if you've ever been to Mexico and driven there from San Diego before, then you probably know that the border crossing from the U.S. into Mexico is it's laughable. It's barely even a border crossing. So there's no sort of security, there's no sort of barriers or checkpoints to see if we have a dog going in. It was really just coming back out that we were nervous for, and turns out it was all for naught. It was no big deal taking our dog across, and I'm really, really thankful that I'm telling this story and not a different one. So like I said earlier, feel free to check out my blog for a bunch of other hopefully helpful tips. But we had a phenomenal time in Mexico with our dog. It was so much fun. Oh my gosh. So highly recommend the experience. That was our story crossing the border, and not sure how it would be in Texas or anywhere else around, the southwestern United States, but going from Mexico into San Diego at the San Ysidro border crossing, it was easy peasy, no big deal. So yay. All right, I think that's the entire story. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Feel free to comment below, or again, check out my blog for more info. But anyways, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.